Hey guys, so welcome back to another SAPP coding video, and today we're going to be doing something a little bigger than what we usually do. So we're actually going to take everything that we learned in the Java tutorial course thing so far, and we're going to actually make something out of it. So yeah, we're going to be learning some new additional kind of neat tricks here and there. I guess new, it's like little nice to know kind of Java things, but for the most part, everything that we're going to be using is stuff that we've already learned through the course. So just a fair reminder, you're going to need, so obviously we're going to be using lambda expressions, so you're probably going to want to be on JDK 8 or above if you're following along. And yeah, so I guess that's the biggest warning there. Oh, and everything that we do in this video right now, you can actually follow along with Java 7. It's just that you're going to have to use slightly different syntax because the syntax that we're going to be using in this tutorial didn't exist in Java 7, but there are equivalents. So what are we exactly doing? Because I've been explaining that we need Java 8 and stuff, but like what for? So today we're going to be making a Word document app. So basically you should be able to open up text files and edit them and save them and stuff. I guess that's kind of the basic idea that we're going for here. So let's get to it. Now real quickly before we actually start programming, I have to give a couple more, I guess, warnings. The first one is that for the GUI, because this is going to be it's going to have a UI. You know, it's going to be using Java FX because that's what we did that's what we did our GUI tutorial in Java FX. But everything that we do here, it can be done in using Swing. It's just that the syntax obviously is going to be different. And this video is going to be segregated into parts. I plan to make 3. The first one is going to be the it's going to be the actual it's going to be making the GUI first. The second is going to be making all of the it's going to be making the buttons functional and stuff, because we can make the GUI, then we have to add functionality. And then the last one is going to be accessing different Word documents. So first we're going to make it work with just one Word document or one text file, and then we're going to start working up from there on. So let's actually get started. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new project. I'm using Eclipse, by the way, as always. We'll call it SAPP Notes. Okay, whatever. Just literally does not matter what you call it. Okay, so opening the project, we're actually going to do a couple of setup things right off the bat. First thing I'm going to do is create just a package, and I'm going to call it com.sap.io, IO for input output. And then we're actually going to make a folder. And the last thing we need to do for setup is we need to install Java FX. Now, you can skip this step if you're using Java 8, and I think maybe Java 9, I'm not sure, but somewhere along the line, Oracle decided to remove Java FX as part of the default package, as part of the library. It's not, Java FX is no longer in the library. You have to install it separately. Doing so is actually a very simple task. All we need to do is we need to go over to our browser. We just need to go to the internet browser and just look up Java FX download and click on the first link. Doing so will take you to a nice page here, and just click the download button. Now it takes you to this glue-on page, and you just need to install whichever one you're using. I installed the macOS SDK for this one, and since I already have it installed, I won't be installing it again. But yeah. And yeah, obviously choose your operating system. You can choose the JMods version, but like I said, we're going to be sticking with the SDK for this one. So it'll download a zip file to your computer. All you need to do from there is then click on it. So this is the zip file that I got. This is the zip file here that I got. You just unzip it, and then make sure you note your file location. And after you have the folder, so the folder should have a bunch of jar files and other things, you just need to go to your project now, right click, and then go to edit Java build path, or wherever that is, or build path, configure build path. And that'll take you to the same menu we were at before, so you can either go to properties or that. Literally does not matter, just make sure you're here. Once again, select class path, and then add external jars. Then locate your folder, locate your Java FX folder, wherever you put it. Mine is in my downloads. Then go to the lib folder, or library folder, whatever you want to call it. And then just import everything. So I'm going to shift click just to make things easier. So there we go, I'm going to open these. And then real quickly, let's just go back to the class path and add another. Not a class folder, add another. We need to add the last 2 external jars. Now obviously if you want, you can just import what you need, and I just feel like importing everything is safe, just because in case we need things from other things, it's always nice. It is kind of a pain that we need to now import JavaFX every time we want to use it, but honestly, it's not that bad. So, okay, so let's actually start coding. It's been quite a bit since we started this episode, and all we've done is setup. So now the actual, I guess the actual code is actually really easy. So first thing is first, let's actually go ahead and make the GUI, because that's the fun part. I made an IO thing, but we're going to make a display thing now. Okay, so keep the IO package for later. We'll need it. So inside the display package, make a class, and I'm just going to name this display. Not dipslay, display. Display. This is going to extend application. Extends application. Of course, you know, this is all basic JavaFX stuff. If you forget what we did, then just watch the tutorial. I'll link all the tutorials that we use in the description below, by the way. I might just link the whole playlist because we're going to use like pretty much something from everything. Okay, so obviously you want to import the JavaFX stuff when we're dealing with JavaFX. Then we're going to do a main method, and we're going to call launch args in there, and then we're going to go ahead and add the unimplemented method. There we go. Now it's all good. And I'm just going to change this to primary stage. And we're going to delete that to do. So now let's actually start programming. So what do we want inside the GUI? Now, I like to kind of plan out my GUIs before I do them. And here is that plan. Now you're just going to have to excuse the handwriting and the drawing skills. I kind of whipped this up in 3 seconds. But as you know, you can pick up the general idea, right? So basically we have like the buttons, which are those like random little tiny rectangles. The top one says change, and that's supposed to be the change doc one. And the bottom one is supposed to say save. I'm not really sure what happened there, but that one is obviously going to save the text in the text file, in the text area. Now the text area is that bigger rectangle in the middle, and all that is that's the area where we enter the text. So we either edit the text that's already there, or we add some text. And if you are opening a file that already exists, any existing text will open in the, and then you'll obviously see you'll see the text from the file in here, and then you can edit that text and save it back to that file. The name of the file will obviously appear next to the change document button as a label, just because I felt like it was important to have that. And yeah, that's just kind of the main overall thing. And obviously we have the title that says SAPP notes. So yeah, that's that. So reading off the list of items that I said we needed earlier, we're going to need a button. We're going to need 2 buttons actually. So button, switch doc button, switch doc, and save. And we're going to import that. We're going to say, we're actually going to initialize them here. Equals new button. Change. And then if we put, we can put the string obviously in here to say what text is on the button. So I'm just going to say change document. Or note, change note. And then save. Save is going to also be equal to a new button, and then we can say that is going to be equal to save note. Okay, so that takes care of the buttons. Next, we're going to need a label for the title. So I'm just going to say label, doc name, or we'll say note name because we're dealing with notes here. Close new label, and I'll leave it as like default for now or something. Let's go import that. Default name, just so we have something there. And finally, we need a text area. So text area. I guess editor equals new text area. Let's import that as well. And obviously, okay, I said that. So And we're not going to put any default text in here just because we're going to pretend like this is a fresh document. So I said that if you wrote anything in the, if you opened up a pre-existing document, any text there will be displayed in the text area. But if you are opening a new file or something like that, then obviously we don't want any text to be there. So we're going to leave it blank for now. So that kind of covers everything that's on here. And then we need a layout. So let's go ahead and throw in a layout. Let's space this out a bit. Stack pane. I'm just going to name this layout because we're only going to use this one layout. I mean, to be fair, actually, we're going to use multiple layouts. So let's actually name this to something like editing layout. Okay, so now let's go ahead and add all the items to the editing layout. So editing layout dot get children, because you have to do that, remember. Get children dot add all. Actually, we're going to use the add all method, and we're actually just going to go ahead and list all the things in the order that we want them to. So switch doc let's do note name next, editor, and save. And there we go. That should kind of put it in the top. Only problem with stack pane though is we're going to end up with just like evenly spaced items everywhere. What we're actually going to do is we're going to say, let's try this. Instead of stack pane, we're going to say VBox. And VBox just means it's going to be in a vertical layout. And just to make things a little neat, not entirely sure if I'm allowed to do this, but I actually never tried it, so we're going to try it. So top editing layer layout. What we're going to do is we're going to first add, why did I name it this? Dot add all. Frick, I forgot. Dot get children. Dot add all. And we're going to go ahead and add, I'm just trying to achieve this effect that you see here. So we're going to add the switch doc button. And we're going to add the note name to that. And now for the tricky part, can we add a layout to a layout? Okay, so we're going to have to see if that actually works, because if it works, that's going to be like amazing. Basically, all I did was I put a horizontal layout within a vertical layout. So now we should get a horizontal layout ordered vertically. So that's going to look kind of cool. Great, so I know this is kind of our first time using a layout that's not stack pane, but I mean, it's cool. They all do really the same thing. It's just the layout determines how it all comes out on the big screen. So now what we got to do is we got to add, or not add, but we got to program. Let's actually not program the buttons yet. Let's add them to the screen first, because let's finish the GUI first. So next we have to go ahead and make a scene. Let's go call this editing scene. Equals new scene. Let's go ahead and import the necessary scene, and then in here, well, let's go ahead and add our editing layout. Next, let's go ahead and do some scene adjustments. Let me switch primary stage dot set scene. Editing scene. Okay, that's good. Then we want to do primary stage dot set resizable equal to true. We do want them to be able to resize it. I'm just going to experiment with that for a bit. Usually, though, if you're dealing with your own custom graphics, it's a good idea to turn that off. Primary stage dot show, so we can see what we're looking at. And I think that's actually going to be it. We'll find out. So let's just go ahead and run it and see what we've got. So that's a problem. Okay guys, so after a little bit of chasing around, we finally got it to work. Basically what ended up happening was we got this error. It was a configuration error. I just went to this website, which I'll link in the description below, and I copied this little thing, and I followed the instructions here. And then after that, I tracked down the path of my folder, which you can do by going into terminal and tracking it down, or you can manually type it by just finding it, right-clicking it, going to get info and just going to name and extent. No, I guess where, and then when you go to where, you can kind of track it down. But it's a little like if it's on your desktop, you might have some whatever. That's not the point. I found the path basically. I inputted the path there, and it worked now. All is said and done. Obviously, if you configured it beforehand, then you're not going to have that issue. But if you tried to configure it with me just then, make sure you don't step out on that step. I guess it's important. So this is kind of what we're looking at here. Clearly, it's a little squished, but we can fix the spacing and everything later. For now, though, it's pretty much more or less what I felt like. So we can click this to change this. We can full screen if we wanted to. Full screen obviously does not really work, so I might just keep it at I might force it to make resizable false. And then if we close the program, that ends too. Okay guys, so that was the first video. Now, this video is all about covering how to make the GUI, or at least making the GUI of the little application. And in the next video we're going to be talking about, or in the next video of this series, we're going to be talking about how to program the buttons, what functions, what methods we're going to need, how we want the functionality to work, and all of that good stuff. Following that, we're going to talk about actually making it so we can switch documents based on a file's path. So basically, the way we're doing it is we're going to have a text box where you can then enter the path of any file you want to open, and then it'll open, and then you can edit it. So it's really simple, and honestly, it's actually really cool as well. So I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.